Hey, it's Tom Kenny, the voice of SpongeBob SquarePants. And guess what? Gary, my snail, meow, and me are going to fill our ear holes and eye holes with the beauty of Drumsmack on Radio V. Meow. Snails like it too.
Please hang up and try again.
All right, good evening, everyone. It's 7 o'clock out here in beautiful Hollywood, California. You're now watching Drumsmack here on Radio V. I'm your host, Jeff Sorensen. Here is what's happening tonight on Drumsmack. We welcome back our friend Peter Erskine. Peter is obviously world-renowned master drummer as the instructor also, and has played on over 600 albums, TV, film, holds 2 Grammys, and is also the head of drum set instruction at the Thornton School of Music, which is at the University of Southern California, USC. So we're excited. We're going to have him come and join us on the second segment. And he's been kind of making news lately, obviously playing TAMA Drums. And we're also going to welcome the Artist Relations from TAMA Drums. Aaron's going to be joining us shortly as well. But first, we'd like to welcome back Mike Murphy from the road.
Thank you.
And
Welcome
the
back to
soon-to-be married Brad Kroll. What's up, Brad?
Yeah.
What?
How you doing, man? How you feeling, man?
I'm excited, man.
All right.
Yeah, family's actually in town now, and I postponed the rest of my day job. I'm taking a couple days off. It's amazing, and just been trying to actually, in the midst of all the insanity, still trying to maintain some sense of rest. That's kind of impossible.
How do you do that?
I don't. Even when I sleep, I don't
Just
sleep.
with family in town, it's hard to rest because you got to entertain, right? It's a good thing. I just had my
Yeah,
family in
it's part
town.
of it.
You got to do that, and then throw the fact that you're getting married.
I mean, when it started
That's
off with
awesome.
like just the idea of entertaining the folks for a vacation was cool, and then we were like, let's just take it up about 85 notches and we'll get married that same week. Sure.
Yeah.
It's been good though. I mean, been planning way ahead on this, and things are really pulling together, and we haven't had any last minute craziness that's happening. Things are good.
Well, when you announced it over the summer, it's everything. We get all the emails. Murph and I, and then our friend Jeff Rowe earlier, are going to be playing in your wedding.
Yeah.
And everything's just been super smooth. Like there's no chaos. Or at least none that I've seen, and I see you all the time.
Yes, but there's still a couple of days. You never know.
No, thanks, Murph.
Well,
Yeah.
I just want you to be ready for it.
Get off my lawn, kid. All right, so you were on the road. How was the road for you?
Well, the Pacific Northwest is beautiful. We were up in Oregon. At one point, we were at a place where there was no phone reception at all. It was beautiful. So quiet. Just unbelievably quiet.
That's when I was trying to get a hold of you for rehearsals about the wedding, actually.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I couldn't even get
And there was
calls.
no answer from the Murph. And
Well, you got to call a couple times. And then
Oh, man, you're going to start that?
No. Pete told me to give you shit about that, so. I
Yeah,
guess
but
I
you
just-
came down. Did you come down
listen,
the coast
he's the only
then?
one I do that to. I hope he's not listening.
Wait, if you guys hanging out a lot, that
I'm just
clap
kidding,
was
Pete.
almost on time.
Well, I was playing in Nevada this last weekend, and I've seen this picture of this motorcycle, which is a drum motorcycle. It's a Harley-Davidson drum motorcycle. Let's throw that up there really quick. I actually, this guy,
wow.
this is his motorcycle. As you can see, there's cowbells in the back, and the taillight's a cowbell. And this guy played my drums. He was in the band opening up for the band I play with, which is the Rye Brothers. Interested in check that out, go to ryebrothers.net. Like a little selfless plug. But
We allow that here. It's okay.
yeah, but see the bass
ryebrothers.net.
drum pedal, there's but
That's
just talking all about
beautiful.
this bike. But I've seen this bike, and we actually might have even thrown it on the air sometime in the past, but it was just kind of ironic to be like, meet the guy that's his bike. But anyway, he lives in Kingman, Arizona. And a shout out to Rob Steele. That's the guy that owns that bike. So
There you go.
That was kind of cool.
Very good.
So let's get this show started. We have Peter Erskine here. Aaron's here from TAMA Drums.
Yep.
Let's get to the news and
Let's do it.
do it. Time for the news. All right, first up in the news tonight, Meinel is proud to announce that the 2016 Meinel Drum Festival will be held in Warsaw, Poland, Brad's favorite place.
Yes, I'm an expert in Poland.
The exact date
All
of the
things.
event, venue, and lineup will be made public as soon as more details become available. Following Moscow in 2009, Mexico City in 2011, and Gothenburg, Sweden in 2013, this will be the 4th International Meinel Drum Festival. And for more information, visit www.meineldrumfestival.com for more information. So that's that. And there it is, Brad.
Yes, Meinel Drum Festival. 40 years and snap! Celebrating the life and music legacy of Al Jackson Jr. The Stax Museum of American Soul Music, Memphis Drum Shop, Royal Studios, and Memphis Rock and Soul Museum will host events that celebrate the life and musical legacy of Booker T and the MGs, drummer Al Jackson Jr., and raise funds to establish the Al Jackson Jr. Scholarship at the Stax Museum Academy. It's going to be held on Friday, October 16th through Sunday, October 18th this year, 2015. The weekend events feature celebrity drummers Steve Jordan and Jim Keltner.
Hey.
And if you are interested in donating or making reservations to the event, call 901-261-6338.netcom.edu.
Org.
Yes.
Org.
That's
That
right.
org. Murph, what do you got, man?
Well, renowned drum builder Keith Keough, Kasabian's Ian Matthews, comedian Al Murray, and more have teamed up to launch the British Drum Company.
Kasabian?
What did I say?
Nothing?
Oh. Oh, boy, this is not going well.
Welcome back, Murph.
Thank you.
We missed you.
Oh, thank you. The firm, whose lineup is completed by head of marching Stu Warmington and design manager Alan Kitching, says it will focus on the proudest traditions of British drum manufacturing, only using British-made shells, employing a striking design and committing to constant innovation. The move comes after Keough recently parted ways with Premier. He previously was the company's head of manufacturing and design. Kasabian drummer Matthews, who becomes the company's first high-paid endorser, says, "I'm excited to be part of this amazing new project, a new company that not only embraces the held traditions of drum design, but to inspire and further the development of this wonderful instrument. To be part of that process is such a privilege, and to do it with this team is an honor." For more details on the British Drum Company, including exclusive quotes from Al Murray, pick up November issue of Rhythm.
All right. So that is the news for this week. But one more note. It has been 35 years since the passing of one of the best rock drummers that ever lived, John Bonham. 35 years ago, on September 25th, 1980, passed away. And just to all the drummers, you know, it's such a big influence still to this day. So we just want to reflect that in our notes here. And we are actually going to go to break because Peter Erskine is in the house. What are we doing doing this? We have Peter Erskine in the house. All right, we're going to take a little quick break. We'll be back with Peter Erskine and Aaron from TAMA Drums. You're watching Drumsmack here on T Radio V. We'll be right back.
what's up? This is Gil Sharon, currently playing with Marilyn Manson. You're watching Drumsmack on T Radio V.
Yeah.
All right, welcome back. You're watching Drumsmack here on T Radio V. Okay, here's a gentleman that needs no introduction. Please welcome back to Drumsmack the great, the one, the only, Mr. Peter Erskine.
Hey.
Welcome back.
How you
Good
doing?
to see you, man.
And of course, next to Peter is Aaron, is the artist relations for TAMA Drums. Thank you for joining us, Aaron.
Thanks for
Welcome to
having
me. Hey, man,
Drumsmack,
welcome.
first time.
Thanks a lot.
So we saw each other at NAMM, and there was a little buzz going around, and it involved you. I wonder what it could have been.
We had our ear to the ground.
Well, I changed drum companies, and as I mentioned in a video that we made shortly before the news became public, sometimes changing a drum company can be dramatic, and it can also be traumatic because you're severing relationship with people who you've worked with and become friends with. But I made new friends, not only with the good people at TAMA, but most importantly with the drums. And do we have time for a brief history?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well,
Please.
like all good stories, it involves a woman.
Okay. All right.
And of course, the drum is a woman for most of us guy drummers. But what happened was I had a chance to try the drums, and TAMA had very politely asked, we have this new drum set called Star, and it's a handmade drum, and we want your opinion. And I said, okay. And so I thought we could set up like an A-B testing, but instead of A-B, I figured, let's go all the way. So A, B, C, D, E, F. And I went to my cartage company warehouse, and we set up a lot of different drum sets. And lo and behold, the TAMA Star kit just sounded better than all of them. Now, I had my other drums in the car. I had a gig that night, but I decided to take the TAMAs
Oh. Ooh.
to the show.
It's
And,
juicy.
Yes. Now, the woman is my wife, and I asked her to come to the gig. And she said something very interesting. Of course, I'm having a ball playing on these drums because they're so easy to play and musical, and it's fresh and new, and I'm falling in love with the drums. She came up to me after the first set and said, I really like the way these drums are making you play.
Wow.
And that was a significant.
That's a pretty big endorsement.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was a very big thing. So I played them a couple more times. It actually only took that one time. I was sold. I became obsessed. I couldn't stop thinking about the drums. And I get it. There's always a fair measure of cynicism. People think that there's some behind-the-scenes story of why somebody would go from one drum company to another. But it really was as simple as I found my instrument. And I don't mind saying I'm 61 years old. I'm happy to say I'm 61 years old. And again, like my wife said, she said, you should play what you want to play. And that's the simple story. There was one other reason, though, that I decided to play TAMA drums. This.
It's the little things.
At the end of the gig, I just squeeze my fingers together, and voila, the cymbal is ready to be put in the cymbal bag, and I don't have to sit there unscrewing.
You're not like trying to find the
How many
the wing
minutes?
nut under.
How many
on the
minutes?
floor under
Did
the
you
bass drum.
calculate it? You're like 5 seconds
I
times
mean, the number of gigs that
50,000
he- yeah,
gigs a
it's-
year
it adds up to
times
a lot of time.
how many years?
Yeah, if you added it up,
You're like, my
it's a
dissertation
lifetime
took.
No, but every drum brand has its own ecosystem of sorts. So it's not only the drums, the tom-toms, the bass drum, the snare, but the hardware and how everything fits together, that synergy that makes it a
Yeah.
complete experience. And a deal maker or deal breaker, I think, with when you're considering any drum company, would be the pedals.
Yeah.
And it's such a personal thing. And I had never played the Iron Cobra. Aaron is sporting the Iron Cobra shirt.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, holy cow, it's perfect.
Yeah.
So it's made drumming more fun, easier, more rewarding, and you can actually hear
What
the
do we
drums,
have
not
here?
only in some of the videos, but my new album.
I could
excuse
hold
me, I
that
was
up to the
looking
camera for you,
monitor.
Peter. Check it out.
Dr.
Get it? Get it?
Wait, what did you do there? What did you do there?
Brad, you get it?
I'm an expert.
Dr. And
Yeah, exactly. You got to make a whole hats,
Merchandise
shirts.
line.
Yeah,
we're
for sure.
We did, in addition to the disc here, we also came up with some.
Oh no.
Sticker, little graphic here.
There you
Check
go.
This out. Check
That's
this out,
great.
world.
The mad
This
scientist.
is my alter ego. I am Dr. And
Weren't you going to do like a teaser release
cool
of this
cartoon.
whole campaign? Did we just give it all away right now?
No.
You're wearing goggles on that though, like
yeah, the
aviation
kind of
goggles.
well,
Is that
that's the
kind of
mad scientist
a mad oh, that's
kind of Dr. But
okay.
my father was a doctor,
Mm-hmm.
and of course he hoped I would become a doctor someday. So I've
But you are now.
I've dubbed myself so, but with these drums and now with this music, this was the album I always wanted to make, and I'm playing more drums than ever. I think for a long time I was taking the anti-drumming thing about as far as I could go. You know,
Yeah.
the sensitive drummer.
Yeah.
So I've
Minimalist,
rediscovered,
right?
the minimalist thing, and so we tossed that in the garbage, and I'm having a lot more fun playing a lot of drums, get to play some funk, and
Wow.
and so that's all the big news, and we have some other big news, but we can't say so yet, can we?
Oh, the stand that we're working on?
Yeah.
This isn't live
can-
or anything, guys. It's
Yeah,
cool.
I
You can
mean,
tell
you
us.
know.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
We love to
we
break
can,
things here.
I think we can at least, give a little taste of what's coming. So obviously, as Peter's talking about, the hardware is such a huge part of his setup. He fell in love with the drums, which was great because it was really the purest reason for anyone to switch drum companies. It wasn't
Yeah.
politics or money or anything like that. I mean, he genuinely just fell in love with these drums, and it actually, as he also said in the video we did with him, it was kind of inconvenient for him, really, to switch drum companies,
Had
for
to be
someone
tough.
for someone at his level.
That's like a massive understatement. I
For
think.
someone at his level that that is such an important part of whatever drum company he's with,
Right.
to make a change like that after being with the company for 10 years, it's not exactly. I mean, it's like getting divorced, and it's troublesome. But I think, he just felt so strongly about the drums, and after using them a few times in different contexts, that led him to come over. But as he said, there's an ecosystem, and hardware is obviously the flip side of any drum set situation. And we're known for having really, strong, sturdy, durable hardware, but it's very heavyweight, and
Yeah,
it's not
that's
exactly
what I was
what you
just gonna say.
what you typically see from a jazz drummer,
Right.
and understandably so. And so one of the other components of bringing Peter on board was his desire to collaborate with us on some really nice professional grade lightweight hardware. And
Can you say like aluminum, something like that, or
No.
No,
Wait. So you're gonna make saxophones now?
exactly. You you nailed it.
I'm sorry. I'm relieved, guys.
So suffice to say, we've been working very hard on this collaboration with Peter, and we're pretty excited about what we've come up with. And yeah,
When do you expect that to launch? You preparing for the NAMM show? Is that
exactly.
NAMM show?
Yeah.
Well, talk a little bit about the drums. How long have the Star drums been out?
The Star drums we're coming up on 3 years actually, with the Star drums. Yeah, I believe it'll be 3 years as of this coming NAMM show. And to be honest, it took a while to get them off the ground from an awareness standpoint. The development of the drums took a long time. It's a new super top of the line drum set for us, and it's a higher level of quality than I think we've ever really been able to achieve. But when they initially came out, they just didn't necessarily hit everyone's radar right away. And so I think having someone like Peter, who's so well respected and so established, has really helped, get the word out. And we've brought on some other great artists that are now playing the drums. And it's been a work in progress. And I think we're really starting to now see the fruits of all those efforts.
Yeah,
It's
handmade drum.
It's a handmade drum
From Japan, right?
In Japan, handmade. Yeah.
Talk about the what kind of shell? Maple, is it, or is it a?
Well, so there's three different variations. So we have a maple shell,
Uh-huh.
a babinga, which is what Peter initially was strongly drawn to.
Uh-huh.
Although now I think you've kind of
I like the
become
maple.
quite fond of the maple as well.
Well, I love them both.
And he has both. And I think you like them both for different applications. And then we also most recently introduced a walnut shell version of the drums as well.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah.
What about the bearing edge? Is it just a 45 kind
It's
of?
it's kind of we don't really. TAMA's always had unique bearing edges. They never have fallen squarely into the category of like a 45 or a 30. It's kind of, I guess, if we had to really describe it, it's sort of like a 45 but with a back cut.
Okay.
But
Rounded off back cut.
Exactly.
Sure.
But it's different from. We were using the same edge for a long time on the Star Classic drums and on other drums as well. And for the Star drums, we actually did modify it a little bit, and it's a little bit. It has more of a rounded peak, so there's more contact with the drum head.
Sure.
And the peak is also further inside of the shell, so it's contacting more with like the meat of a drum head. And the idea with that, and with pretty much every design element of the Star drums, is to maximize resonance and just make the warmest, most robust sounding drum possible.
The recording when we were going to break, I mean, like the tone is just incredible from these drums. The tone, I mean,
And they tune up like that.
what do you have? Did I see fiber skins on the one in the
Fiber
studio?
skins on
Fiberskin
the-
Diplomats.
Yeah,
right?
fiber skin diplomats.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, just really responsive, and some drums can sound choked a little bit, but just like very open. And in your solo piece, obviously you start out very soft, and when you open them up, there's no choking of the sound. Very warm, very, very clear.
And for me, I found that with other drums, you're not aware of it until you kind of
Do it.
make
Comparison.
have a comparative experience, I guess. I was working hard. I was working harder than I was having some of those drummer aches and pains, and I don't have them now. I have non-drummer aches and pains, but I don't have the drummer aches and pains. So it's an easier drum to play. It speaks more freely, more openly. So I just found a really good rapport with the kit, and the ease of playing is important because it's easier to say whatever it is you want to say, and people who know my drumming, the one consistent remark that they say, "Wow, you're playing more drums than ever before, and you're doing stuff I haven't heard you play," and this is very cool. So so thank you.
Thank you. I mean, so much of it also, obviously, the drums are great and they can take you so far, but when you have a player like Peter,
Wow.
that's really, it takes it to another level altogether.
Thank you. It's like Christmas morning every time I get to play it.
That's fun.
It's really fun.
That's cool.
And then with the cymbal release, all the little things just add up, huh?
Yes. And it's if you're into hardware, and if you, in particular, if you enjoy any of the retro designs, if I may give that much of a hint of what's to come, this cymbal stand's going to knock your socks off. I've been waiting for years for someone to do this right.
Cool.
And the TAMA men and women, boy, they've really done it right.
Oh, fantastic. Well, guys,
Keep
we're
us
gonna
in the loop.
take a
Definitely.
quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about your books, and your apps, and all the other stuff you got going on, and then maybe do a little playing. We could actually hear the drum. You brought one with you tonight.
We brought one.
All right, fantastic. We'll be right back. We're talking with Peter Erskine and Aaron from TAMA. You're watching Drumsmack on T Radio V.
What's up, everybody? Rich Redmond here from the Jason Aldean Band. You're watching Drumsmack TV on TRadioV.com.
Welcome back. You're watching Drumsmack here on T Radio V. We're talking with the great master drummer Peter Erskine. So, Peter, we're going to hear the drum here in a minute, but wanted just to, for those of you that may not know, you have a lot of instructional and educational tools on the market, and just want to kind of mention some of them. The apps, the play-along apps that are such a cool idea and very innovative. Starting out with the Jazz Essentials app, I believe.
Oh,
That's
there we are.
if you're on iTunes. Now, is this? Can you get this for Android now as well, or is it just
What we have, I was going to make an awkward reach into my bag. The camera back on Jeff just for a second. So,
all right? So, how you doing, everybody?
Jeff, how are you, man?
You know, just doing great,
Who are we
hanging out with
interviewing
Peter
tonight?
Erskine and Aaron from TAMA. You know, another average day.
He's back.
Hey, look it. All right.
Okay.
Oh, that's
So,
gnarly.
What we decided to do for folks who wanted to experience the play-along music, but didn't have an iOS device like an iPhone or an iPad, we created these USB cards.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And
Those are cool.
you know, this.
I've seen one
this
like that
flips
before. Those
open,
are awesome.
and you can stick it into your computer, and then all the play-along tracks with music minus drums or minus bass, minus piano, or the entire trio is contained in here along with PDF charts of all the music. Now, the iOS apps,
Could we run through them?
yeah, well, I was just going to explain
Sure. Go ahead.
the principle. You can create your own mix. You can mute any particular instrument that's part of the ensemble. So, for example, if you're a drummer and your friend's a bass player and you both want to play along with Alan Pascal playing the piano, you could do that. These aren't MIDI. These are actual real swinging performances. And a lot of people like using the apps just as like a karaoke kind of a band. But these have all been rhythm section based. The Jazz Essentials, our piano trio, the Afro-Cuban app, which features Aron Serfati, who's a colleague professor of mine at the Thornton School of Music at USC, and Otmaro Ruiz, a wonderful piano player. They put together this wonderful Afro-Cuban play-along app. And again, you can mix, mute, it's a full mixer built into the app. And you can also record yourself with any of these apps. So post it on social media or send it to your teacher, these kind of things. It's been a busy week. Tomorrow morning I'll be back in the studio. We're just finishing up mixing a big band play-along app.
Cool.
Now most big band
Fantastic.
music minus one projects, maybe you can minus the drums, minus the bass,
Piano.
minus the piano, or maybe minus the lead trumpet or one of the saxophones, whatever. We decided to like what would make this really great and useful to as many people as possible. So it's music minus lead trumpet, second trumpet, so you don't need to be a lead player to get the play-along experience.
Oh, interesting.
First alto, first tenor, baritone sax, first trombone, bass trombone, and the complete rhythm section, including guitar and percussion. And the 10 tracks all come from Bob Mintzer's big band library. So you can play with Bob Mintzer's big band, no matter what instrument you play.
Wow.
And so very excited
pretty
about
cool.
that. And we hope to get that released in mid to late November.
Okay.
Right in
this
time for the
is-
holidays,
This
everyone.
is,
pressure.
this is coming out in January.
Dr. Umbred.
But I just got
Get it?
I just got
I see what you
the
did there.
many boxes of CDs. It was quite exciting when they arrived. So lots going on with the apps, and that album made another album just because I had nothing better to do.
You're like, I have 3 days. What can we
Please
do?
keep making
Let's make an
more.
album.
Where's a lot this
2
guy?
days.
Duh. Monday and Tuesday, guys. All right, see you in the studio.
So that's I love big production albums, and maybe none more so than Weather Report's Heavy Weather. It's still the most sparkling, vibrant bunch of music I can think of. But in addition to that, most of my favorite jazz recordings were ones that were made in an afternoon or in a couple of days, because it really reveals the true nature of the players.
Players.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
what-
Sure.
and
so much
and
growth.
and it's fresh and it's fun, and it's real.
Yeah.
And oftentimes when you put yourself in a little bit of that pressure cooker, the real you comes out. Well, you know this.
Yeah.
The pressure cooker of live TV every week. How many shows have you done now?
This is the 102nd show.
Wow.
And I remember the first time you came on. I mean, just the pinch yourself moments of like, here's Peter Erskine, one of the best drummers in the world, and I mean, you teach, and there's just no BS. There's no. Sometimes you get a little nervous. I definitely was then, and it's just such an honor and a privilege, but you do it enough times, and it just becomes second nature.
It's,
Episode 29 was the first time you joined
Thanks, Brad.
Wow.
29.
That factoid.
Yeah.
102. This is 102.
And then,
wow!
and then
Congratulations.
43.
Yeah, thank you.
And then no. Yeah.
Thank you.
But also too, I just wanted to throw out there too, the same support that you're feeling with, it's like the Peter Erskine power pull.
Yeah.
Like Drumsmack really established a lot of credibility after you joined us.
Yeah,
No.
it really did.
Really?
Yeah.
Dave Weckel was like, Peter's on the show? I want to
Yeah.
be on the show.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
all right.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, big shout out to Dave.
Yeah, heck yeah.
So let's go through the apps real quick, just to
Okay.
show pictures. Can we go through? Okay, that's
That's
the
Jazz
first one you
Essentials.
released,
These,
right?
These are the jazz tunes you
Okay.
should be able to play, and those are more the jazz tunes you ought to be able to play.
Yeah.
The Code of Funk. Now, we repurposed David Garibaldi's incredible book and CD. And
Talking
you
about
can,
future sounds?
The Code of Funk.
Oh, code fun. Oh, yeah. Okay.
And you, in the app, you can remix his drum set. So the great thing, if you want to hear like all the incredible, like ghosting on the snare drum that
Yeah.
David's doing, you can just bring that
Crank
up
it
to
up.
your heart's content, and it's really, it's incredible. I was just asked to write some words about David Garibaldi, and I sat down, at my computer and the word processor, and I was just going to write a sentence or two. And of course, I tend to go on and on, with it. But I couldn't stop talking about the guy when I just began to consider, like, historically, not only globally, but just on a personal level, subjectively, hearing him for the first time and everything that I learned and that we've all learned from him. He's just an incredible musician. So that was a lot of fun to get him into the app family. Now we have another app, the Afro-Cuban.
Yep. That's
Well,
the Afro-Cuban
that's
one.
That's the
Go one back.
That's the USB.
There,
That's the very first one, the Joy Luck with. That's my new trio with my nephew Damien Erskine and a wonderful pianist named Vardan Avsepian. And I think there's one more, Afro-Cuban.
We have.
I know about it.
It's apparently they're telling me it is
Berkeley.
not on
It's
there.
not there. Anyway, take my word for it, folks.
It's there. And then also we have a couple educational books
We have some
that you
books.
have. Time awareness.
Time awareness for all musicians, not just for drummers, but basically it teaches you how to respect the spaces between notes.
Play the space.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that's what it's
And
all
then
about.
essential
Drum fills. The drum book I swore I'd never write. A book of drum fills. And essential ones at that.
Yeah.
But it turns out to actually be a very useful book. You know, at USC we have drum set proficiency classes, beginner level, we have intermediate level, and now we have a drum set proficiency class for the classical percussion majors.
Oh, interesting.
And the purpose is not only to teach everyone about how to have fun at the kit, but how to own
How to own it.
how to own it. How to play something and have it be fun and feel good and feel like you. That's what it's about.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then, of course, your book, No More Beethoven.
Not no more, but no Beethoven.
No, excuse me. Yeah, No Beethoven.
That's
there it is.
that's a good title for the sequel. No More Beethoven.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. See?
The title, in case anyone's curious, comes from Joe Zawinul once telling me, "I ain't afraid of no Beethoven."
Okay.
He was a tough guy.
Yeah, he was. Sounds like it in that book.
Yeah. We keep looking up at the
I
monitor.
know that there's a monitor here, so every time, audience, when you see us look up, like I'm doing right now, that's there's a monitor that we're all kind of checking out. We're coming up on a break. I know I'm trying not to do that. Maybe we'll have a monitor here and just kind of keep eye contact.
Yeah, come on, it's 102 shows.
I know, right? All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, let's hear these drums.
Okay.
And then maybe a little basic brushes 101.
My pleasure.
All right. We're talking with Peter Erskine and Aaron from TAMA Drums. You're watching Drumsmack on T Radio V. We'll be right back.
T Radio V. Hi, this is Jimmy Brownlee. You're listening to Drumsmack T Radio V. Hola, este es Jimmy Brownlee. Están mirando Drumsmack en T Radio V.
Welcome back. You're watching Drumsmack here on T Radio V. We're with Peter Erskine and Aaron from TAMA Drums. And Peter, question. You're one of the masterful drummers, and especially with brushes. What is? Can you give us a little tutorial before we're getting close to the end of the show? Could you give us a little basic thing, brush lesson, like Brushes 101 with Peter Erskine?
Brushes 101. Here we go.
All
Okay.
right.
Well, a drumstick is perfect for playing staccato. A brush is very well suited, just like the name implies, for playing legato. It's our Italian lesson 101. And the idea with a brush or a stick when you're playing on a drum, not just to make some sound or noise, but it's to provide rhythmic information to the other musicians, right? So we do that by playing a beat. Now, the most simple drum beat in 4/4 time is going to be 4 quarter notes to the bar. If I had a ride cymbal, I'd go ting, 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 ting. With the brushes, I can go ting. Now, if the camera is... So, basically, there are two directions you can play brushes. One would be like you're swimming, doing the breaststroke. The other would be like you're collecting wheat, gathering wheat, or hugging a bunch of puppies or something.
All right.
Puppies. I like the puppies.
Puppies are good.
Hugging puppies. I'm not much of a swimmer, but I do play the brushes as if I'm doing the breaststroke. Steve Gadd happens to do it that way, and so did Elvin Jones. Now, I'm relatively self-taught on the brushes. How did I learn to play the brushes? Well, simple. I listened to recordings and then just tried to get that sound on my own. And I noticed that drummers played smoothly, but again, with that tap that supplied the propulsion, it gave rhythmic information to the band. So I don't just move the brushes around on the head like that. So can you dance to that? No.
I can feel the beat. I can feel it.
No, you
Yeah, it's just like
But if I,
swimming.
thank you. We're here all week, ladies and gentlemen. So if I lift up the brush and bring it back down on the head, I've established a pulse.
Yep.
If I leave the brush on the head a little bit longer after I've made the tap, I get a nice smooth sound. The left hand is pretty much damping the head from that open ring.
Sure.
So you get a warmer, more intimate sound. And about 90% of the rhythmic articulation is going to be done with the right hand. And then the left hand can join in on the fun. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. And I've used brushes not only on jazz recordings or in jazz settings, but with Mary Chapin Carpenter,
Country singer.
country singer, wonderful, and bossa novas, of course. But really nice for soft pop ballads. Your drummers, you don't have to just choose between sticks and blast sticks. Brushes are a really fun instrument to play. Now, if you don't want to learn
Train
these
beat.
complicated brush patterns that always look like football diagrams for the Eagles or the Pittsburgh Steelers or something,
All right. Philly.
I'm going to show you something real quick. How to learn how to move around on the drum set.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just on the snare drum. I just start at the top of the drum, and I bring the brush towards me, and I try to connect each stroke without a tap
Without a tap.
or rhythm. And I call this the ninja mode. And now we'll add a tap. And I try to make each tap the same. Right hand, left hand. I can change directions going side to side in ninja mode. And then add a tap. And I can do this diagonally, going both directions. I can do it in circles. And so you cover a few basic directions, and you can come up with any kind of pattern you like. And then the only other thing to learn is this little snap for articulation. Basically, folks, I'm just rushing through this. If the brush is not playing a rhythm, you leave it on the head. Like that. And then this little snap. And the best way to demonstrate that is we're going to pretend that a fly has come into the Drumsmack studios. It's landed right there on my head. And that's all you need to know how to play the brushes.
Oh, Peter, thank you.
You're welcome. Shall I play you out?
Yeah.
You too.
You guys, good. Give him a little bass, Murph.
Get some headphones on.
All right, want to thank Peter Erskine and Aaron from TAMA Drums. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Love to definitely have you back. And Peter, welcome anytime. For Mike Murphy, Brad Crowell, I'm Jeff Sorensen. Want to thank you for watching tonight. We'll see you next week for another episode of Drumsmack, only on T Radio V. Remember to be the change in the world that you want to see. Have a great week, everybody. See you next time.